Morning, this is Brian. Today is Thursday, November 21st, 2024. I'm here at Presidio Park in San Diego. It's a very historical spot. This is basically where San Diego started back in the end of the 1760s. So what I want to do today is go around, check out some of the sites, and of course check out the botany, because there's a lot of interesting botanical features to this area. Try to drop a little bit of history, did a little bit of extra research on this area. So hopefully I'll be able to give some historical context to this area. I'm not a major historian, but it's good to learn a little bit about your local history when you're exploring an area. So let's see what we're gonna find today. I have a feeling this is gonna be a very, very interesting morning here in basically the beginning of Alta, California, the upper part of California. So come along with me today on a journey of history, botany, nature, whatever comes up on this awesome morning here at the Presidio. Alright, so a little historical context on Presidio Park is that this was the original founding spot of San Diego back in July 1769. As I'm coming through this little wooded stretch here, this hillside here looks like a really good spot to overlook the southwestern part of Alta, California. So this is a good place for a presidio, which comes from Latin praesidium, which means a fortress, a garrison, which is what this area was. This area is also the founding of the first mission of Alta, California. This is the original spot of Misión San Diego de Alcalá with Father Junipero Serra and Gaspar de Portola back in 1769. So this is where the original mission was located until it was moved several miles to the east of here. See, we're at the western end of Mission Valley, and the mission was moved further up into the valley. And any information from this part of the video is what I researched on San Diego History.org, on the San Diego History Center. Since I did research on this, I do like to cite my sources. It's a beautiful sight out here. So, according to San Diego History Center, this presidium, or presidio in Spanish, oversaw over 120 miles of land from here northbound. And being that we have really good views up here, of course, there weren't all these trees here back then. These trees are planted well after. So you would have relatively unobstructed views of the area. So this is a great strategic place, because back then these European settlers came here, the Spanish, and they wanted to make sure they are protected from the people, unfortunately, whom they invaded, the Kumeyaay. They want to make sure that they had a safe spot where they'd be protected and be able to see incoming attacks from the Kumeyaay people. So this area offered expansive views. So for a good few decades, This area was a very prominent feature in the burgeoning San Diego landscape. See, what these presidios basically functioned as, according to the website History Center, San Diego History Center, these were like miniature communities. People were born, people were educated, people lived their lives, people worked here, basically born from birth to death, lived in these areas to help protect this community. We also had chapels, we had places for communities to get together, to work. And it was pretty much where people would spend their lives. Born here, raised here, and unfortunately pass here. So, up until about the 1830s, this was a very important place for the burgeoning population of San Diego. Other towns started springing up all around the area. By about 1830-ish, there was a lot less need for a singular garrison, so there was a lot less emphasis placed on this area. And after that, there was really no need for it anymore. So people would come and literally pick the remaining pieces of the buildings apart for building supplies and everything of that sort. Literally just pick it piece by piece until very, very little remains today of the original structures. So people had to repurpose with what they could get so they could build other towns and communities all around. And look at it today. It's a major metropolis here in Southern California. So we also have a museum up here. We have the Junipero Serra Museum, which is the large prominent building that you'll see when you first enter the park. I'm just going to do a little tidbit about that. If it opens before the time I leave, I might stop in and see what's good over there. Let me go head over there and get a little historical context for you. Okay, we're at the Junipero Serra Museum. This is the Father Junipero Serra Museum. This is one of the focal points of this location. Now, before I get into more about this building, I do want to talk about a prominent person here in San Diego back in the late 1800s to early mid-1900s, and that's a guy named George W. Marston. He was pivotal in establishing Presidio Park a long time ago. He moved out here from the Plain States back in the early 1870s, and he was pretty important in establishing a lot of the facilities we have in San Diego, and Presidio Park is one of them. So without him, we might not have a lot of this preserved, perhaps. And he also helped establish what would become the Father Junipero Serra Museum, which is right here. Now, however, this building here was actually conceptualized by a gentleman named William Temple Johnson back in the late 1920s. So this building here is almost 100 years old. It was erected in 1928, and this is what I'm getting from the San Diego Museum Council.org, this information here. And obviously it has a Mediterranean style roofs. You can see it's got the Mediterranean style roofs. It's built in the Spanish Revival architectural style. It's very common and still being found to this day. A lot of houses I see here in the San Diego area and in Southern California, for that matter, are inspired by the Spanish Revival. So, as I was talking about before, a lot of people spent their whole lives here, from birth to death. That also included people like soldiers, because obviously we have barracks and military installations here, because this is a fortress. This was a fortress. So we have military people and their families, and also sometimes you would have enslaved indigenous Kumeyaay people here working the land as well. And yeah, this is where people would spend their lives before the beginnings of Old Town, which is really close to here. Old Town was established shortly after. So, pretty interesting. We've got some history here, but very, very little of the original stuff here remains from the 1760s. If you want a good look at that, you might want to go check out the Misión San Diego de Alcalá, for San Diego's first mission, which is a few miles away from here. But I just wanted to provide a little historical context to this really beautiful area before I start going into other features of this area, like the plants and whatever animals I come across. So, hope you enjoy this little historical tidbit. When I come across more historical tidbits I can get some information on, I'll go ahead and go into that. But let's start enjoying the beauty and the aesthetic of this park now. Alright, so now I want to go into the next chapter. What kind of trees are we looking at around here? There is a very high diversity of trees and palms and other plants that I feel are definitely worth pointing out. So I'm going to start off with this native here, this California native right here. This is Toyon, Heteromeles arbudifolia. Undoubtedly probably growing on this site. Maybe not this specific shrub here, but this species would definitely been found in this area back in the 1760s, when Father Junipero Serra was establishing his mission. So we got Heteromeles arbudifolia. It has 2 different seasons worth of things going on. It's got its summer flowers. Again, we're going into late November. It still has flowers on it. Sometimes they can flower quite late into the year. And it also has its fruit, the pomes, the red pomes that are going to be ripening pretty soon. Very interesting. It's got flowers and developing pomes on it. Now, right next to it is another plant you would undoubtedly have found in this area before the landscaping of this area. Lemonade berry, Rusin tegrifolia. Probably abundant on these slopes back in the day. Again, this is a north-facing slope, so I'm pretty sure we had some really tall toyons and lemonade berries. And then here's the native mule fat, Baccharis salicifolia, subspecies salicifolia. Would have been found generally more in seeps and canyons below the area, but occasionally up in the higher lands as well. So we definitely have some interesting native plants growing around here. Let's see what else I can find. Well, I was talking about this area is probably covered in coastal sage scrub back in the days before this was turned into the Mission and Presidio era. Toyon, lemonade berry, probably laurel sumac, California sagebrush, white sage, probably all covered this land before it was taken down and built up. in landscape with mostly non-natives here. I believe, I'm trying to figure out what this is. I think this might be a Carolina cherry. Carolina laurel cherry, I think is what this is. I think this might be Prunus caroliniana. Might be what this is here. It's definitely in the genus Prunus. I think this is Prunus caroliniana, or this could be Prunus laurocerasus, which would be the European laurel cherry. This is definitely in the genus Prunus. So if this is the Carolina laurel cherry, it's native to the eastern half of the United States. It's an evergreen shrub related to our hollyleaf cherry, Prunus licifolia and Prunus licifolia lyonii. If it's Prunus laurocerasus, it's native to Europe. And it's an evergreen, just like the hollyleaf cherry, it's an evergreen shrub to small tree. So you're going to see a huge mix of different types of plants and trees because this area is so amenable to a huge variety of cultivation. Trees that run the gamut from basically tropical to sometimes even far northern climates. And I will be pointing that variety out during the course of this video. Now this shrub here is very amenable. These evergreen cherries are very amenable to Mediterranean style climates. And now San Diego itself is a borderline Mediterranean climate. What I mean by that is it does have the bimodal precipitation regimes, wetter winters, drier summers, but San Diego, right along the coast itself, is borderline desert because the precipitation in this area runs at just about 10 inches per year, which is a lot of people's definition of what becomes a desert at 10 inches or lower. Parts of San Diego only average about 9.8 to 10.2 inches of rain per year, including this area, right next to where Mission Bay and San Diego Bay are. So this part of San Diego is on the lower end of the precipitation spectrum. So I'm going to call it a borderline Mediterranean climate. Further inland and over by the foothills is more of a true Mediterranean climate with a little bit bigger swing in temperatures, colder nights and warmer days, and more precipitation, more indicative of a true Mediterranean climate. But we do grow a lot of the same stuff you would find in a Mediterranean climate. So again, it runs the gamut from very tropical, quite tropical, to very northern temperate, depending on what species you're looking at. Now here's one very famous example of the Mediterranean world, the Phoenix canariensis, and this is an old growth Canary Island date palm, extremely abundantly planted in warmer, milder Mediterranean climate areas that don't have deep freezes in the winter, as some Mediterranean areas do get some pretty frosty nights in winter. Yes. And these also do well in subtropical climates. And you're going to see a lot of different types of eucalypt. Lots of types of eucalypt. And those are trees in the myrtle family that are related to one another. Let's see, what am I looking at here? We got here the sugar gum, Eucalyptus cladicaulis, one of the most commonly planted eucalyptus trees here in San Diego. Now, not all eucalypts are in the genus Eucalyptus. The eucalypts are a closely related group, including eucalyptus. And I'll be pointing those out as needed. Now, Eucalyptus cladicaulis is one of the largest trees in the city of San Diego. One of the largest trees here in lowlands of Southern California. Sometimes getting much bigger than even our mountain pines. There. And this tree is basically endemic to South Australia and vicinities nearby. Now Now here's another Australian eucalypt called Bushy 8, and this is Eucalyptus conferruminata. Fairly commonly planted here in San Diego. The leaves are a little different, but this is most certainly a eucalyptus. And the genus Eucalyptus is generally extremely well suited for planting in Southern California's milder climates. And there's a lot more to point out. So stick with me as I keep pointing out more species of trees. Now here are some Eucalyptus cladocalyx saplings right here. Eucalyptus cladocalyx does fairly well reproduce in our climate. Seeds are pretty easy to germinate. I've germinated Eucalyptus cladocalyx before. Just look at that. What a noble tree. Here's another species of eucalyptus right here. And this is Eucalyptus sideroxylon, red ironbark. Get much larger than this. Eucalyptus sideroxylon, the red ironbark eucalyptus. I'm going to come up to a couple bigger ones here. Hold up. Here we go. Red ironbark alludes to the reddish brown color inside of the furrows of the bark. And the flowers run from brilliant white to pinkish rosy red in cultivar rosea. Red ironbark is an extremely abundantly planted ornamental here in San Diego County and in Southern California. Occasionally, eucalyptus trees will get these big burls that jut out from the bark, as you see here. But yeah, Eucalyptus sideroxylon. If you want more information about that, about this species of eucalyptus, you can refer to my Trees of San Diego from February of this year, February 2024, if you want more information about Eucalyptus sideroxylon. This one seems to have more white flowers. You can see this one's starting to get a few flowers opening up from the bud caps. And this one seems to have white. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these have pinkish flowers too. Alright. Now I see some more interesting eucalypts on the other side of the lawn. So I'm going to go over that way and show you. We're going to go find out what kind of eucalypts those are. Alright, so I'm at our next species of eucalypt right here. And this is a pretty big specimen thereof. This is the lemon-scented gum. This is Corymbia citriodora. Corymbia is another genus in the eucalypts. In fact, it's still often referred to as Eucalyptus citriodora. Lemon-scented gum looks a little similar to cladocalyx. Similar bark. Those are cladocalyx, Eucalyptus cladocalyx right there. You can see there with their light-colored bark. These here tend to be a little bit less mottled, sometimes with more of a yellowish, a little bit more of a yellowish hue, and leaves that are narrower, and the leaves smell like citronella candles. They're very, very pleasantly aromatic. And the genus Eucalyptus was split up into Eucalyptus and Corymbia years ago, about 30 years ago. So this is often still known as Eucalyptus citriodora, but again, it's now formally termed Corymbia. And Corymbias are generally called bloodwoods. They're called bloodwoods. That's another common name for Corymbia species. And we got a mixture here of these right here. These are lemon-scented gums. And then behind it are more Eucalyptus cladocalyx. Eucalyptus cladocalyx looks very similar and even has similar seed capsules. They're shaped like little miniature urns, but Eucalyptus cladocalyx leaves are a little bit darker and a little more leathery colored, whereas Corymbia citriodora leaves are thinner and of course lemon scented. Come up here for some views. And we've got a mixture of non-native aloes and native lemonade berries. right over this little viewpoint here. There's even a Catalina cherry right here. A couple Catalina cherries right there. A shrub in the middle. That's the Catalina subspecies of our hollyleaf cherry. That's Prunus ilicifolia subspecies lyonii. We've got a small population over here as well, growing amongst these hefty Eucalyptus cladocalyx trees. And then we got Crassula ovata, the jade plant. Very common ornamental plant here in Southern California in the milder climates. And you got some good views looking down towards Interstate 5. Interstate 5 right there. Right at the interchange of Interstate 5 going north and south to Interstate 8 going east and west. And you can kind of see towards SeaWorld through the branches of the eucalyptus trees. And you got the Pechanga Arena right there. And we're kind of looking more towards the northwest in this view here. And then now it's down by Mission Bay going that way. That ridgeline right there, it leads up to Point Loma. Let's see if I can get a view of Point Loma itself. Kinda. I'm gonna have to raise the camera a little bit. That's Point Loma over there in northern part of San Diego Bay. And this is down towards Old Town right here. This is the Old Town area. I'm trying to see if I can see the Whaley House from here. Can't tell right now. There's so many trees in the view here. The trees like this area because it's a north-facing slope. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and walk around and check out some more features, some more trees. So I've been talking some about the Mediterranean climate, or the near Mediterranean climate. Well, here's the staple of Mediterranean climates. This is a pretty decent sized olive tree right here. This is Olea europaea. Very, very well known tree that has given us edible fruit for many, many, many centuries and millennia. Look out here on the ground, you can kind of see all these olive seed pits. So the olive fruit is a drupe. It's called a drupe. It's a stone fruit. It's got a seed pit. And then olive trees are also known for sending up root shoots here. Look at this tree's probably been here for probably a couple hundred years. These trees can live to well over 1,000 years in age, if not more. These are one of the most long-lived trees. Some of these trees are, these trees here are probably at least a few hundred years old, but there are trees that are over 1,000, maybe even 2,000 years old. And they send up these root shoots, because this is an old tree. Well, at least for Southern California standards. I mean, you got these growing in the Mediterranean that are probably 2,000 plus years old. But we do have a lot of olive trees scattered around here. Here's another trunk, because usually I don't see them get this way. Look at these birds. Oh, little buddy. Beautiful birds. Look at that. Oh, yeah, look at this. Yeah, a lot of the trees are about half this size planted here in San Diego. These are not large trees by any stretch, but these are pretty decent sized olive trees. Birds are really having fun here. So am I, to be honest with you. But yes, the Mediterranean staple, Olea europaea. These are some large specimens. And then, here's another Mediterranean plant right here. Let me see if I can find a dried up leaf I can check out. I think this, yeah, this looks like common myrtle, Myrtus communis. I believe this is from Europe and the Mediterranean areas, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this appears to be a Myrtus communis, the common myrtle. Which is actually in the same family as the eucalypts, the Corimbias eucalyptus trees. They're in the myrtle family, Myrtaceae. And yeah, we got them sprinkled here, growing underneath these noble old olives. So yes, that small shrub is related to that pretty large tree right there. And myrtles are pretty easy to grow in our, again, Mediterranean climate. So I'm going to go down and we're going to start looking at some other types of trees and shrubs. I got my eyes on a group of trees down in the canyon that definitely need to be checked out. All right, well, we got some more trees to check out down here. So I'm in this shade of this beautiful young southern live oak. This is Quercus virginiana, variety virginiana. Yes, this is. I'm surprised there are no acorns. Sometimes these trees produce acorns like crazy. It's fairly commonly planted here in milder areas of Southern California. It's basically native from Texas to Florida and then up towards Virginia, hence the name virginiana. And sometimes these trees, which are typically evergreen or late deciduous, and I'll explain that in a minute, might become winter deciduous in colder parts, the northern parts of its range, or sometimes you can plant it even further north and they'll typically shed some to most of their leaves in winter. But it's known for most of its range for being mostly evergreen, except during the spring they shed their foliage as the new foliage comes out. Yeah, this is Quercus virginiana, variety virginiana. And they're the kind of spatulate shaped leaves of this tree. Yeah. And man, we do have some animal life happening right now. What do we got here? We got some Audubon's cottontails hanging down here towards the lower part of this ravine. Yes. We got some, yeah, those are definitely Audubon's cottontails. I can tell by the black tips of the ears. Yes, Silva Lagus auduboni just grazing in the grass right now. Now, there are a few different types of oaks planted in this area, so I'm going to go on to our next oak here, and this is our native coast live oak right here, Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. This is our native oak that was probably found in these canyons back in the day. They're found in canyons throughout the San Diego area and in most of the county for that matter, except for the deserts. Yes, indeed. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia, the coast live oak. Very much native to this area. Now, don't get it too twisted though. Coast live oaks and the other oak I just pointed out, the southern live oak, despite being live oaks, typically evergreen leafed, are not closely related. In fact, the southern live oak is a member of the white oak group, whereas a coast live oak is a member of the red oak group. So they're not super closely related beyond being oaks, which are closely related in their own right. But oaks have different lineages. Coast live oaks are a type of red oak, and southern live oaks are a type of white oak. So just a little extra information I figured I would add to that. So I'm going to try not to disturb these cottontails too much. So I'm going to go take a look at our next exhibit. So stay tuned for that. Okay, our next stop on our botanical tour. Yes. Yes, indeed. I saw these trees from above the canyon earlier. I was waiting until I finally got down here. These are ginkgo trees, Ginkgo biloba. Now, I was talking about trees that live in tropical and Mediterranean climates, and in trees that are originally from much more northerly climates. Well, here's one from a more northerly climate. Yes, indeed, the ginkgo tree. Yep, brilliant golden yellow fall color. Yep, these are the ginkgo trees. I can tell this is a female because these trees are dioecious. Male pollen and female seeds occur on separate trees. I could tell, I think this one's a female, because I think I see seeds on the ground. Seeds. Now, ginkgo is not a flowering tree, despite looking like a broadleaf. It's a broadleaf in the sense that it has broader leaves on it, but ginkgos are not angiosperms. They're not flowering plants. They're not flowering, and they don't have true fruits, despite the fact that they look like they do. These are called gymnosperms. These are gymnosperms. They are more closely related to coniferous trees. In other words, trees that bear cones with seeds, like those pines I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes. Yeah, I'll be talking about those pines. So these seemingly broadleaf trees, broadleaf looking trees, are more closely related to pines, much more closely related to pines than they are to oaks and these Cape leadworts here, which are flowering plants. With the gymnosperm, seeds are born naked. They don't look like they are because the fruit-like structure of a ginkgo, of a female ginkgo, it looks like a drupe with a seed pit in it. So it looks like a drupe, but it's not. It's not a fruit. It's not a true fruit. Just a little extra bit there. Yes, look at that, backlit by the sun, golden fall color. That's another trademark of ginkgos. Even here in Southern California, ginkgo trees can turn very brilliantly. Now, so I was talking about a lot of the Mediterranean plants we have here. Well, here's yet another Mediterranean species of tree, and yet another species of oak. And this is called cork oak, Quercus suber, native to the Mediterranean areas of Europe, Mediterranean climate areas. Yes, this is cork oak, and there are a few cork oaks in this park. I've seen a couple other ones too. Yes, the beautiful, venerable cork oak, Quercus suber. An absolutely stunning, beautiful specimen thereof. Fortunately, no acorns. I thought they'd have acorns on them. It's like our native oaks are the ones producing acorns. But I'm gonna go follow some of these trails here and see what other species of trees and shrubs I can find, because this is very nicely landscaped. Alright, let's see what else I can find. Now, some of these I definitely don't know too much about. Like these here, I'm not too sure what these are. They look familiar that I've seen them before, but I don't recognize what they are. This is what they look like. So these ones I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, I know everything about everything. I don't. But we're heading down in this canyon. Here, this most certainly is our native lemonade berry right here, which is pretty tall. So we're going down to this canyon. I want to see what's growing in here. This looks like a wonderland of beauty. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to have a really good hiking map for you, but I will definitely provide a visual of what the area looks like from above on Google Earth. Oh, look at this. Okay, now we're getting to a little bit of a hike, which is along my speed here. A lot of beautiful lemonade berries. Alright, so we do have a little bit of trail action, so yeah, this is pretty cool. Okay, and we got some coastal sage scrub action popping out here. And we got some bladder pods here. Kind of struggling, but yeah, this is Cleomela arborea, variety arborea, native part of our flora here. Yep, here we got some red pomes on the toyon. And a non-native olive tree here. So we've got a little network of trails. I'm going to be checking out a couple of these spots here. I'm hoping to get down there and check out this canyon lined with palms. Yeah, see? We do have some native coastal sage scrub growing here. Well, oh boy, this is a huge sumac. Oh, this is a hybrid between lemonade berry and sugar bush. This is massive. Oh, This thing's the size of a tree. A small tree, but a tree. Yeah, this looks like a hybrid Rus integrifolia lemonade berry with Rus ovata sugar bush. Sugar bush itself is not super common this close to the ocean. Occasionally pops up. This thing is massive. So this is a hybrid of two native sumac species, lemonade berry or lemonade sumac, and sugar bush or sugar sumac. This thing is massive. Oh, wow. I'm convinced more and more every time I turn around that this is definitely the place I needed to go today. I didn't get out yesterday. Boy, that's incredible. And I think we got a Brahea species here. I think this looks like Brahea edulis. Pretty neat looking. But yeah, I'm definitely heading down to that canyon. There's another huge sumac right there. It's another one. Oh, man, that's crazy. Here's a coast live oak right here, and here's one of the parents of the hybrid sumac, lemonade berry, just arching over the trail, looking graceful. Wow, yeah, this is an amazing little adventure. Boy, really, boy. I knew this area was going to be awesome, but goodness gracious. This is kind of blowing my mind in a way. All right, well, what else am I going to find? Oh, what the heck is going on here? This isn't what I think it is it? I'm not sure what this is. I was thinking it was a massive chamise at first, but no, it's not a native. Whatever it is, I don't know. I'm going to go head down here. Oh, and here we go. We got more Catalina cherry. We got a fair amount of Catalina cherry growing around here, too. Yeah, this is Prunus licifolia subspecies lyonii. The larger leaf, larger sized cousin of the hollyleaf cherry. Or actually brother, bigger brother. This is beautiful here. All right, I'll see you down at the bottom of this canyon. What else we got growing around here? Found the native theme. Laurel sumac, trimmed to look like a small tree. Abuelosma laurina. I told you we were talking about these pine trees here. There's a lot more on the top of the canyon I need to talk about too, but that's a native Torrey pine right there. A very, very commonly landscaped tree around here. That, yeah. There's a lot of Torrey pine growing here. Yeah. Now I was talking about those hybrid sumacs, lemonade berry sugar bush hybrids that are growing here. Here's one of them from below. These things are huge. Gosh, these things have been putting in work for probably many decades, if not more. Yeah, that's an old hybrid sumac right there. That's definitely got sugar bush DNA in it. Wow, this place is gorgeous. This place is absolutely gorgeous. Here's another hybrid sumac. I think this is part of the first one I saw, I think. Amazing. This is an amazing place. Wow. Amazing. I still got a lot of stuff to point out too. There's a lot going on here. Some type of century plant or agave or related plant here. Wow. Beautiful place. There's another side trail there I might have to check out. Try to get out of the sun so I don't end up gliding here. We got some majestic. Look at these palms. Wow. Beautiful Washingtonia robustas. They're majestic too. My gosh, this is an amazing canyon right here. This is some of the coolest scenery I've seen here. This is insane. It's another Brahea edulis, the similar looking Guadalupe fan palm, which is related. It's obviously because it's a palm. There's some beautiful trails here. Should be able to map out some of this. A lot of Eucalyptus cladicalix there. A lot of majestic Torrey pines in this canyon too. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? And a lot of Canary Island date palms here too. Wonder where this is going to lead. All right. Try not to get the sun in your eyes. I'm going southeast right now. What a beautiful canyon. Watch out for palm fronds, they might trip you up. Oh boy. Alright. Another little trail right here. Wow. That's where I came from over there. There's a trail going up through these Torrey pines. I might have to take that one too. We even got some native Coast Cholla. Probably a lot more widespread in this canyon back in the days. Cylindroputia prolifera. It's more majestic Torrey pines, toyons and coast live oaks. Here's a nice sized cholla sticking out right here. Yep, that's how they spread. Little pieces break off, fall on the ground, take root, and new genetically identical plants take root and take off. Nice little trail. More lemonade berry and a lot of decent sized sugar gums. Probably one of the largest, if not the largest trees in San Diego are probably sugar gums. Look at this. Wow, this is spectacular. What an awesome canyon. Oh, look at this huge old Coast Cholla. Look at this old growth one. This one's been kicking around for a long time. Look how large the stems are on this. Wow. Boy, you don't have to go far to find surprises in San Diego County. And there's the Juniperocera Museum right there. Right near where I parked. Yeah, we got some great, oh look at this. Old growth cholla all over here. Wow. More bladder pod. Whoa. Yikes. Yeah, more Guadalupe fan palms, which are almost a California native. They're native to Baja. Ooh, and what kind of sage are we looking at here? I'm assuming this is purple sage. Yeah, Salvia leucophylla, which is really not native to the San Diego area, but is a Southern California and California native regardless. So we got purple sage here too. So I'm going to take a look at this little trail section here. Fantastic views up here. All right, well, I'm going to see you on the next clip for more finds. Alright, so I'll come up on an upper parking lot here. Here's another really old olive tree. Wow. Another old olive. Wow. Here's a nice sized lemonade berry. It's growing like a tree. Look at this. Look at the trunk on this. Look at this. This thing's a tree. A little tree. Wow. Amazing. Cool place this is. Boy. Botany, history, culture. Boy, you can't beat it. You really can't. Let's take a look at this upper part here. I think we're near the neighborhood area. Yeah, this is fantastic. For a botany lover. I do love history too, don't get it twisted. I may not be a big history buff, but I do appreciate history too. This place just seems to have everything. Place to hike and get some exercise. Place to botanize, appreciate history. Yeah. That's the other side over there. That's where those ginkgo trees were from earlier in the clip. Now what I'm going to do is appreciate these big Torrey pines and these massive trunked Eucalyptus cladocalyx. Yeah, Torrey pines can become quite large trees. Maybe not the tallest trees around, but they definitely get some girth and some spread. Let's see what else I can find over here. I think I found something else interesting before I take that trail back into the canyon. Alright, this is what I thought it was. It's a loquat thicket. A couple of loquat trees growing here. Cool. Yeah. Areobotria japonica. These are loquats. I think they're struggling a little bit. Yeah. These are loquat trees. Yeah, loquat's a member of the rose family, the Rosaceae, and it's in the same group as the apples and pears, the Malleae subsection. Yes, their fruits are pomes. Yellow pomes. The fruit of a loquat is a pome, like an apple or a pear. And then got a nice little, looks like an Italian cypress over here. Let's check this little guy out. Yeah. Cupressus sempervirens. Yeah. Pretty young tree. Starting to get cones in it already. Wow. And just tons of Torrey pines here. And then we got cedars, like deodars, probably deodars. I do have trouble telling deodars and Atlas cedars. Pretty sure these are deodars. Cedrus deodara. Yep. Here's the bark and trunk of the cedars. These are true cedars. The genus Cedrus. Yes. True cedars are not in the cypress family. A lot of plants in the cypress family are called cedar, including our native incense cedar, western red cedar, and a lot of junipers. However, they're in the cypress family. The true cedars, the genus Cedrus, are actually in the pine family, the Pinaceae, related more to these Torrey pines than they are to that Italian cypress I just pointed out. There's a type of shrub that I see quite oftenly planted here. This is called Xylosma congestum. Very commonly planted, mostly hedges, formal and informal. They do make dense screens. Their bark's a pretty attractive flaky furrowing when you get to see it up close. So these are very commonly planted as hedges, whether they're trimmed formally or left to grow wild. You see these a lot on the side of roads and on freeways. Very commonly planted. Xylosma congestum. Yeah, that's a nice little spot. I'm gonna go try to find a trail that's gonna head me down in the canyon so I can get a look at another piece of the canyon. And I'm probably gonna go up a trail on this side that should take me through another grove of Torrey pines. This is an absolutely gorgeous place. Gorgeous place. All right, I'll see you on the next clip. I just took a couple pictures of this Torrey pine. Look at the girth on this. Guarantee you this is not an old tree. This is probably not a super old growth tree. These things are known to grow pretty quickly and get to large girthy sizes. The girth on this Torrey pine is just stunning. Look at the size of the trunk on this tree. Nice young Mexican fan palm. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. This is definitely an older tree. I wouldn't say this is probably not a super old growth tree. Or maybe it's older than I think. This tree's been around for a while. I'm gonna kind of change my mind a little bit about that. But yeah, sometimes these Torrey pines get massive trunks on them. Bigger than a lot of our mountain pines do. Which get a lot of times 3 times taller. They're not very tall trees, but they definitely have some massive trunks and branches. Torrey pines are just amazing trees. Oh yeah, so yeah, looks like this trail is going to go along this part of the canyon here. So I'm going to probably get some pretty interesting footage over here. And there's a lot of Catalina cherry growing around here too. There's a lot of it. Yeah, that's Catalina cherry right there. Again, this is hollyleaf cherry's bigger, taller brother. All right, so let's go take this trail. Look at this. We're in a Torrey pine woodland right now. Actually, it feels more like a forest than a woodland. Yeah, these are not old trees at all. I'm probably older than a lot of these trees are. And I'm in my 40s right now. Oh, boy. Yeah. Let's go explore this canyon. Oh, this is gorgeous. Oh, this is insane. Oh my gosh. What a breathtakingly beautiful place this is. I hope there's a trail that goes up that canyon a little bit. I don't know if there is, but I'm gonna check it out for sure. There's beautiful lemonade berry here. And our fourth species of pine. We have a fourth species of pine. The Aleppo pine, Pinus halepensis. Another Mediterranean species of pine. And we got a couple other species of pines here too. I will be pointing them out when I get to the appropriate spots where they are. Believe me. Beautiful canyon. I'm hoping this thing goes in canyon a little bit, but I kind of doubt it is. If it does, I'll be really happy, but I don't think it will. Can't lie, I'm pretty happy now the way things are going. We got some more bladder pod growing along here. Even some of it's blooming. So it can potentially bloom any time of year. Yes, indeed. Cleomela arborea, variety arborea. Another coast live oak. Wow. Yeah, see? We got lemonade berry and toyon, called toyon sumac shrubland. I'm gonna go follow this a little bit and see what I can find. I have to watch out for poison oak, but I'm just kind of curious over here to check it out a little bit. Let's see what's in here. Oh boy. Yes, about as far as it's gonna go, I think, before it gets overgrown. Just wanted to see what the little canyon had going on in it. Wow. Here's a pretty decent sized toyon right here, in fact. Wow. Then we got a castor bean right there. Non-native, very toxic plant. You don't have any part in ingesting that plant. Wow, yeah, this is beautiful here. I gotta get some pictures of this. There's even a blackwood right here, blackwood wattle, blackwood acacia, acacia melanoxylon, right there, a tree, right above this toyon. Here's a we got blackwood growing here too. It's the only one I've seen so far to my knowledge, but I'm not surprised to see it growing here. Yeah, a nice little canyon over here. All right, so our trail is gonna go up this way underneath more Torrey pines. So get ready for some more interesting Torrey pine footage. I was hoping there was gonna be a better trail going up that way too, so I could explore the canyon, but I'll stick to the main trail. Here we go, up in the Torrey pines. Wow, yeah, this is spectacular here. Ooh. Oh yeah, okay, Victorian box. Pittosporum undulatum, another Aussie native in the Pittosporaceae family. Yeah, these are the little seed capsules that'll split open and reveal the seeds inside. Yeah, it's from Australia. Victorian box, Pittosporum undulatum. Pretty cool. The amount of plant diversity here. Yeah, look at that. Looks like there were some redwoods here at one point, I think. I think that's what those were. Yeah, pretty crazy. I told you there's gonna be a lot of good botany today. Boy, I was not lying. Look at that. These Torrey pines are something amazing. These are such amazing trees. And it's time for some more botany too. after I get a few pictures of this canyon from above. Okay, it's time for the next stop on the botanical tour of this amazing park. Here we go. A Montezuma bald cypress, Taxodium mucronatum. We got these growing here too. Taxodium mucronatum, member of the cypress family, Cupressaceae. It used to be in its own family, the Taxodiaceae. This is a close relative of the American bald cypress, which is in the Taxodium disticum group. Sometimes divided up into varieties and sometimes divided up into separate species as well. As you can see, different types of foliage. We got this pendulous stuff here, these little single needles, and then we get these little groups here. Yeah, this one tends to be more semi-evergreen to evergreen, maybe partially deciduous. And here are the cones. Those are the cones of Taxodium mucronatum, those small rounded things. Yep, this is native to Central America, Mexico. Montezuma bald cypress. Yes, indeed. Another species of coniferous tree found growing here in this park. Let's see what else we got here. We also have some potentially interesting things here. Let's see. Okay. Now I think this one here, it's kind of leafless because it's winter. It's going towards winter. I believe we have Taxodium disticum. I believe this is the American bald cypress. Either that or this could be a Dawn redwood too. They are very similar trees. Wow. Yeah, these are deciduous. They shed their branchlets and leaves in autumn, so they're winter deciduous trees, and they're related to the bald cypress, and they're also related to the redwoods and giant sequoias and the cypresses and junipers. So it used to be in their own family, the redwoods, sequoias, Dawn redwoods, bald cypresses used to be in their own family, the Taxodiaceae. However, the Taxodiaceae has been absorbed into the Cupressaceae. I'm pretty sure those are probably redwood trees back in the day. Looks like they're dead, but you can see they got their winter buds on them. This is a winter deciduous tree here. I'll have to find out. If they had cones on them, I'd probably be able to tell them better. But these are pretty young trees here. There's another one over here, actually. I gotta kind of look up to see which is which. Now I do get them. They can't be mixed up. Here's another one right here. It's already dormant for winter. Yep, these are conifers. They bear their seeds in cones, like these pines, which I'm going to be talking about momentarily as well. Don't worry, I'm not leaving these out either. They are conifers. They're just in the cypress family instead of the pine family. Yep. So I'm gonna go look around, and here's one that still has some leaves on it. So these are going leafless for winter. Again, they're winter deciduous. See, their sprays are oppositely arranged. I think that's oppositely versus alternately arranged. I think might be a way to tell them apart. I'm gonna go look at the Montezuma bald cypress and see. Yeah, see, this one's still shedding its leaves for winter. Okay, let me go take a look. All right, so I'm looking at the sprays of foliage here on Taxodium mucronatum, and the sprays of foliage are alternately arranged is what it looks like on here. I'm trying to differentiate whether those deciduous ones are Dawn redwoods or bald cypress trees. So these ones, yeah, these appear to have mostly alternating sprays of foliage on this Taxodium mucronatum, which I know this is a Taxodium. Because if this were the regular bald cypress, it would be shedding its leaves right now for winter as well. I'm just looking. So I don't really have a lot of experience with seeing dawn redwoods, but they're very similar looking to their relatives, the bald cypress. Yeah, again, this one's Taxodium mucronatum, the Montezuma bald cypress, which tends to have alternating twigs, whereas these ones tend to have oppositely arranged sprays of foliage. And its foliage is very similar looking too as well. I think these might be Metasequoia glyptosturboides. I'm gonna do a little research because these don't have cones in them either. I think these are dawn redwoods, I believe. Metasequoia glyptosturboides, but they could be Taxodium disticum. Fortunately, I hate leaving an area not satisfied with my diagnosis, but it happens. It has happened before, it happens, and it will happen again. But yeah, these have oppositely arranged sprays of foliage. So I think these might be dawn redwoods, but I'll do some more research and hopefully be able to have some text on the screen confirming or negating my original diagnosis. But they're all related, and they are in the cypress family. All right, so what else do we have here? Now, these much larger conifers here, these are Canary Island pines, Pinus canariensis. And these are some older, larger specimens thereof. Now, usually when these trees are young, their bark is very furrowed, but with age, even Canary Island pines, their bark breaks out into plates. These are older trees. These are much older trees. These are some majestic Canary Island pines. Here in the San Diego area, these trees can get well over 100 feet tall occasionally. And some of these are definitely got to be about 100 feet tall. Very majestic species. Native to the Canary Islands. Very well suited for a Mediterranean climate. They grow on volcanic soils in volcanoes on the Canary Islands. Now, this pine is not closely related to any of our others, our native ones here. This is in another group. This is in the subsection Pinaster of the pine family. While there's Torrey pines, our natives are members of the yellow pine group, the Ponderosae. So these are actually in the subsection Ponderosae, related to Ponderosa and Jeffrey pines that are found in our mountains here in Southern California. So quite interesting. Yeah, this group, the Pinaster group, is mostly found in Europe in the Mediterranean. And we do have a couple other trees in the group, in the Pinaster group, which I will be pointing out, which are also European and Mediterranean natives. As I go across this park and explore more, I'll be able to tell you the other ones that are also members of the Pinaster group. But yeah, these are very, very abundantly planted trees here in San Diego and in Southern California, from the coast to Bakersfield. They're pretty heat tolerant, but you have to get them used to that when they're young in age. Because I remember a big heat wave in Orange County back in July 2018, where a lot of the pines suffered quite a bit from a stretch of 110 plus degree heat. But yeah, look at how massive these are. These are awesome. Let's go take a look about some of these all here on the other side. Here we are. Yeah, these are some massive. These are bigger than some of our pines in the mountains. And their bark kind of looks like Ponderosa pine bark. Again, they are not in the Ponderosa group. So this is more typical, especially on younger trees. More furrowed bark. More furrowed bark, which is kind of slightly corky. But yeah, when they get older, they plate out. There's some of these trees big like this in Balboa Park too. They get massive. Look at the wide bark plates. Flat flat bark plates, not unlike the Jeffrey pines in Mount Laguna. Pretty interesting. All right, now there's some more stuff over here. Yeah, see, look how tall these are. These are bigger than a lot of the trees at Mount Laguna. But then where you go to Palomar Mountain, where the ponderosa pines in lower French Valley get much taller, but these trees are definitely, some of these are definitely over 100 feet tall. All right, let's go head over here. Some more interesting stuff to see. Here we go. Here's another tree related to the Canary Island pine. This is Pinus halepensis, the Aleppo pine. Another very commonly planted tree in the San Diego area in Southern California's milder, more arid, or more Mediterranean-like climates. Yes, much more furrowed bark on these guys. Yeah, Pinus halepensis, but they're relatively small pine cones. These are closely related to those Canary Island pines I just pointed out. In fact, they're also in the Pinaster group, subsection Pinaster of the pine family. Now let's come over here, take a look at some of these pines. Let's see what we got here. Because this one is another Pinaster. This one I'm trying to double check because I'm trying to see if I can see the cones in the tree. I could tell what kind this is. Yeah, this looks like an Italian stone pine, Pinus pinea. Another tree from Mediterranean-like climates in Europe that also is in the Pinaster group. And these trees are generally more furrowed when they're younger, but even these plate out with age too. So you can tell this tree's been around for quite a while. So the bark even plates out on Pinus pinea. We got some more Italian stone pines over here on this little knoll. Almost on the edge of the park, actually towards a little small residential area. There's a jet taking off from San Diego International. Yeah. Now we got some more Italian stone pines. Don't usually see these drop too many cones. They got that mushroom top shape, typical of Italian stone pines. Out here they tend to be shorter, but in their native lands, they end up really tall with a small, rounded, mushroom-like top on them. Yep, Pinus pinea. Beautiful Italian stone pine. Yeah, some great views here. Really good views out towards Point Loma. Off to our west. Good views up here, I'll tell you. What a cool spot this is. But yeah, it's a pretty nice sized Italian stone pine. Very nice size. I like the very irregular shape. It probably used to have another trunk on it. Oh, amazing. Alright, time for some pictures of this area. Here we are in this little interesting nook, not that far from the Junipero Serra Museum. Looks like it's time for a little more history. This is called Fort Stockton. Let's see here. Fortified briefly by Carlos Carrillo in 1838, this site became Fort DuPont July through November 1846. after American forces took Old Town during the Mexican War. Retaken and held briefly by the Californios, which were the original Mexicans who settled this area. It was retaken by the Californios, but then it fell once more to the Americans, who renamed it Fort Stockton and used it as a campaign headquarters for ending the Californio Revolt in early 1847. The Mormon Battalion stayed here later that year. However, the post was abandoned on September 25th, 1848. So this is Fort Stockton. Yeah, there's a little bit of information about the Mormon Battalion, who came from Iowa all the way to San Diego around that time period. And according to the plaques here, so it was the longest march, the longest army march in history. Yeah, about 2,000 miles. It's a pretty long way to march. Yes, longest infantry march in history, and it helped win the Mexican-American War. 500 volunteers of the Mormon Battalion. So this is also called this is also dedicated to the Mormon Battalion. So there's supposed to be a historic site on Juan Street in Old Town. Pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. So this place is dedicated to Fort Stockton and the Mormon Battalion. 2,000 miles. That's one heck of an infantry march. Not gonna lie. You didn't have motorized vehicles back then in the late 1840s like we do now. So yeah, people were a lot tougher, a lot sturdier back then. It's amazing. Right here, Fort Stockton. Pretty cool little spot right here. It's nice to learn a little bit about the history of the area as well. Like I said, the Old Town is just down this way a little bit. That's the Old Town area right down there. That's the Old Town area. Very interesting. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I guess the Mormon Battalion site was more down that way. Wow. Nice views up here too. So this is actually part of the California State Parks. It's called Old Town San Diego State Historical Park. It's down there. I'm definitely gonna have to spend some time over there on a future video, just checking it out to see what's popping off over there. But yeah. And here's a little something about the women of the Mormon Battalion. So let's go just take a quick look at that. Yeah, interesting. I guess only 20 of the soldiers' wives were chosen. And men who could meet the expenses were allowed to take their families. I guess nearly 80 women and children accompanied the battalion, knowing the troubles and travails they would have to face. Susan Davis, Lydia Hunter, Feast D.P. Brown, and Melissa Corey traveled the entire distance, arriving in San Diego on January 29, 1847. Wow. Mrs. Hunter gave birth to a son in April of 1847, the first Latter-day Saints child born in San Diego. Well, she passed away 2 weeks later. That's a shame. Yeah, I guess this is one of their stop-offs before heading up to the Great Salt Lake area, where their big founding over there occurred. Yeah, what a great park this is. Gosh, this is amazing. History, botany, yeah, canyons, beautiful. Yeah, it's just awesome. And we'll see what else I find. There's got to be more stuff coming up soon. Alright, here's yet another species of tree growing here. The noble, beautiful southern magnolia. Magnolia grandiflora. Very handsome magnolia tree right here. Got a few smaller ones here too. You can see the old fruit structures and the red seeds. So this is what we call a follicle cluster. Each fruit has a big red seed in it. Each fruit individually is called a follicle, which is common in Magnoliaceae. You see this one dropped a lot of seeds. Yes, this is the tree native to the southeastern United States. A couple of these trees still have a couple of flowers in them. Let's see if I can see any. I thought I saw flowers in one of these trees. Yeah. That right there, that white speck has one flower. Huge flowers too. Yeah. It's not very well open, but yes. They do flower somewhat here in San Diego. They're usually not the best performers in our climate. Really not a big fan of our climate. Well, maybe not so much the climate, the soils. I think the soils are too alkaline, I think is what it is. They do fine, temperature-wise, they're fine, but they're not really a big fan of the soils here. That's probably why they don't usually perform as magnificently as they would in other places. But yeah, beautiful southern magnolia. And then, over here, we have another eucalypt. Yes, we do. We got another eucalypt. Right here, Corymbia ficifolia. Red flowered gum. Still has a few red flowers in them. In there, you see some reddish hues in the crown. Those are the red flowers. Corymbia ficifolia. Very beautiful. Pretty decent sized specimen too. These are not really known for their large size, but this one's been around for a while. This one's been around for quite a while. It's got a pretty big trunk on it, to be honest with you. There's just so much beautiful botany in this park. It's hard to ignore it, and that's why this video is going to be a long one. And more southern magnolias. We got a nice little grove of magnolia trees growing here. Very beautiful place. And then I'm going to head down here. There's something else I kind of need to check out too. I got some more stuff over here to check out. This looks like Ficus microcarpa, but no, there's something different about this one. This is a type of ficus. Ficus nitida, maybe? This is a different type of ficus tree right here. And yet another one over here as well. Let's see. This might be a Moraine Bay fig right here, I believe. Let's see. I think this is. Yeah, Ficus macrophylla. This is a Moraine Bay fig. Here's yet another species of ficus growing here at Presidio Park. There's just so much botanical variety here. There's so many different types of trees and shrubs. Incredible. Yeah, this is a Moraine Bay fig. Some of the largest planted ornamental trees in Southern California's milder climates are these. And this is an example of a subtropical tree here. This is a subtropical tree. Grows in eastern Australia, Queensland. Subtropical, maybe even tropical. So yeah. So you got to see some trees from more northerly climates, like the ginkgos. Got to see magnolias of the milder temperate world, olives from the Mediterranean, ficus trees from more subtropical regions. So what can I say? San Diego's got a lot of different botanical diversity. And here we go with Parkinsonia oculeata. It's called Jerusalem thorn, also called the Mexican Palo Verde, another species of tree from more subtropical, maybe even tropical worlds. Let's go head down. Let's go head down here for a little bit and check it out. Might be some more stuff down here to check out. Okay, now we got some trees again from the more subtropical world, from South America, namely jacaranda mimosifolia, native to South America. Extremely common tree here in San Diego and warmer places in Southern California, known for its purplish blue flowers from May well into summer, sometimes even completely covering the tree in a purplish blue haze. It's late November right now, so not going to be much of a factor. But sometimes, even occasionally as late as October, sometimes we'll have a few flowers left on them. Yep. Beautiful jacaranda trees. I think they're beautiful trees all year round. I love the ferny foliage and the little flat seed capsules. Little flat pancake-like seed capsules that hang on the tree. I don't see any on the ground right now, but yeah. A lot of times you'll see, these trees will have a lean in their trunk. Not always. They're fairly small trees. They're late deciduous. In other words, they shed their leaves in early spring. Then they get their flower buds, and then they leaf out when they're flowering. But yeah, see if I can see a seed capsule up close. Okay, that right there, that rounded thing in the center of the frame, those are relatively flattened seed capsules with the little winged seeds. Yep, beautiful jacaranda. I need to do a Trees of San Diego episode this upcoming next spring coming up, so I can get the official video on this tree. Yeah, very nice looking trees. And then we have something from the more temperate world. So I told you, we're bouncing back and forth between different types of trees, different climates. This one that's changing color, is an American sweet gum, Liquid Ambar steraciflua, native mostly to the eastern half of the continent, but also has it also ranges down into Mexico and Guatemala and higher elevation forests. And this tree is known for some pretty vibrant fall colors. This one here is a little later to change. It's starting off with yellow, but it'll probably grade into red and purple pretty soon. All right. Yes, it's fun botanizing this park. I love the history and I love the botanical aspects. Now we have a Japanese mock orange, or tobira. It's Pittosporum tobira, another species of Pittosporum, commonly found as a medium to sometimes quite large evergreen shrub with citrus-like flowers that have a citrus-like fragrance on them. And tobiras usually have revolute leaves, so they curl under. And then they have these chambered seed capsules with little sticky seeds. Pittosporum is Greek for pitchy seed. And then here's an Australian native here, Melaleuca viminalis. Some pretty decent sized specimens here, right along the building. Pretty tall, very handsome. Used to be known as calistamen, and sometimes still is in older texts. So you can say calistamen viminalis or Melaleuca viminalis. Pretty nice specimens. Weeping bottle brush. Now I'm going to head over to that lawn over there and see about some pretty tall trees growing over there. Alright, so now I'm here near the base of the park, over by where Taylor Street is. I got some magnificent Australian silky oak or silk oak. This is Grevillea robusta. Not a true oak. Not even related to the oaks. This is a member of the Protea family, Proteaceae. These trees can get up to at least 100 feet tall sometimes here. Some of these trees are pretty close to that right here. Some very nice specimens of trees. Now, got this one over here. This is one of the largest ones I've ever seen. This is an Australian brush cherry, Syzygium paniculatum. That's a big one too. Ew. Never seen one with a trunk this large on it. And then there's a Moreton bay fig growing in it. And this is not uncommon to find Moreton bay figs sprouting in the crotches of trunks and branches. It's because these trees are called epiphytes. They start off in the trees, growing in other trees, but then they become stranglers. If not checked, this thing can eventually send roots down, choke off this tree, and become its own freestanding tree. This is a very, very common practice for a lot of trees in the genus Ficus, called stranglers, or banyans, called banyans. They start off growing in the crotches of these trees, and spread out roots, take over. So that's a foot. Back to this tree. This is a huge specimen. I don't think I've ever seen one this large before, especially with a trunk this wide. Yeah, this is Syzygium paniculatum, Australian brush cherry. This is a pretty big specimen. And it's in the myrtle family, related to eucalyptus. But their fruits are juicy and berry-like, as opposed to seed capsules like most eucalyptus. But yeah, this is in the myrtle family. This is a pretty big tree. A pretty big one. This is the largest one I've ever seen, I think. That's crazy. Let's see what else I find. There's still some more stuff around here. Here's a tree I'm not very familiar with. I suspect this might be in the genus Dombea, I think, but I'm not sure. This might be in the genus Dombea. Very tropical group of trees. That's what this might be. I'm not sure. I'll have to look this one up. Very interesting. I definitely have a big learning curve. I think this might be a Dombea. Wow. I'm gonna have to look this one up. Get some pictures of this tree. Alright. Right here, a camphor tree. Cinnamomum camphora. Another subtropical tree growing here. Pretty neat. Cinnamomum camphora. Member of the laurel family, Lauraceae. Very interesting. Alright, there's some Mediterranean fan palms growing here too. Chimeropsis humilis. Very impressive. If left alone, they form basically an impenetrable thicket. But this is what they look like when their stems grow. There's the drupes, the fruit. Mediterranean fan palm. This is one of the hardiest known species of palm. Grows in parts of Europe, and it's cold enough to tolerate some pretty decent frosts, I believe down to the single digits, single digits Fahrenheit. And very snow tolerant as well. Very interesting plants. We have a very curious prickly pear here. It's an Impuntia. I'm assuming this probably has some Opuntia ficus indica in it. This might have some hybrid DNA. I'm almost certain it probably does have some hybrid, potentially with some of our natives, like Opuntia littoralis. Possibly. Man, tree tobacco, another non-native right here. Nicotiana glauca. All right. Interesting to check out all the different botanical aspects. All right, let's go check out some more of this park. Yeah, got some nice Kajiput paper barks. Melaleuca quinquenervia. Very nice specimens right here. Very nice. Not usually very large trees, but you can get decent sized. Papery bark. Typical of Melaleuca. A lot of species of Melaleuca. There's a paved pathway here. I was kind of curious. Here's a much larger, older paper bark right here. Nice base on that tree. So I wonder where this is going to head. Can't forgive all the freeway noise. We're right next to Interstate 8. Just curious what's going to be found over here. Huh, blue elderberry. Okay. Ooh, and some laurel sumac. Man, there's some nice laurel sumac thickets over here too. And of course, I haven't been pointing this out much. Peruvian pepper tree is very common in this area. Skinus mole. Nice views up here. There's Fremont cottonwoods down by the San Diego River, all changing color. Nice fall color down there. Some good views up here. There's the building. Very interesting. Interesting little pathway here. Pretty peaceful. If you do come here, just be aware that there are a lot of transient people, so just be careful, just be respectful, don't harass them. Look at this toyon. Oh, this is an olive tree. That's the toyon. Oh wow. Very interesting little area over here. Oh, cotoneaster. What species those are, though. Ah, this is interesting. You can probably put in a good few to several miles of walking if you just poke around. Take every trail you can. I was over on that side earlier. I was down in that canyon earlier this morning. That's very nice. I'm gonna have to switch batteries, so my battery's about to die. See you on the next clip. Pretty sick view up here. I can see out towards some of my mountain peaks that I like. We're looking more towards the northeast right now. Sorry about that. Right in front, it's Coles Mountain and Mission Trails Regional Park. Behind it, is mighty Cuyamaca Peak, second highest point in San Diego County. And then right by where those two palms are, the Viejas Mountain over by Alpine. I can see the Laguna Mountains way off in the distance too. Pretty good views up here. And see why this place was chosen as a garrison or a Presidium. I feel so blessed to live close to places like this. I can just explore, botanize, enjoy the animals and the history of this really cool area. So yeah, that's where I was this morning. I was down in that canyon there. So you can get some elevation gain going up and down these different trails. It's like an old gazebo or some kind of structure here. We got some Cape Leadwort, Plumbago auriculata. As we look here to the north, across the San Diego River, there's the University of San Diego over there. On the other side of that is Tecolote Canyon, the southern part of Tecolote Canyon, one of my coastal canyon spots here. This is a nice little pathway here. So you got trails coming from up there. We'll go up here and see what's popping off over here. Yeah, this is pretty nice. Very beautiful place. And now the sun's out and it's warming up, the lizards are scurrying about. Let's see, I wonder where this leads. To a small hilltop. Wonder what's over here. Alright, so this is kind of near where I was cutting through earlier. It's like I felt like I just climbed up to the top of a hill. Small mound here. Yeah, it's a pretty dope place. Not gonna lie. Yeah, got another Myrtle family tree right here. That is Lophostamen confertus, Brisbane box, also known as brush box. You get a good view of mountains and Mission trails. Again, way in the background is Cuyamaca, but you got Coles Mountain, Piles Peak, and Quaipai, and then behind Quaipai is El Cajon Mountain, closer to where I live. And then you get the view of Viejas Mountain, a little more unobscured. And again, here we are, back at the Presidio Museum. Let's go around this way. There's somebody sleeping over there, so I don't want to disturb him. Try to be respectful. You never know when it could happen to you. Alright. There's where the museum is. Alright. I'm gonna go sit at this bench and maybe take a small break. Been walking around for quite a while. Been here since about 7 o'clock. Been here for almost 3 hours, just poking around. Alright. See you on the next clip. Alright, so I'm starting to head down towards the parking area, but I need to stop off and check out a couple other plants. So I pointed out the Canary Island date palm earlier, but there's at least one, maybe two other species of date palms growing here. Over here, we have the Senegal date palm, which is a multi-stem thicket-forming palm. Right here, look at that. Phoenix reclinata. These are the beautiful Senegal date palms that are pretty commonly planted in San Diego. Very nice specimens, too. Very handsome. Phoenix reclinata. The beautiful Senegal date palm. You can see from their roots sprout a bunch of these shoots. Look at that. These are gorgeous. I've always loved these darn things. I always thought these are so fascinating. These multi-stem thickets. Phoenix reclinata. And then it looks like we got a I think this is a Guatemalan yucca here. I think this is Yucca elefantipes, I believe. I think, not 100%, but I think this is Yucca elefantipes. Elephant foot in Greek. Look at the stems on this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Yucca elefantipes, Guatemalan yucca. Get these fat stems on them. And then we have some other interesting stuff over here too. Another species of yucca. I'm going to come over to it right now. Look at these yuccas. These are massive. These are bigger than Joshua trees. These look like yucca foliferas. These are big yuccas. These are big yuccas. One of the largest species of yucca, I believe, in the world. They're dangling, pendulous inflorescences. It's got to be Yucca folifera, because the edge of the leaves kind of have little threads coming off from them. Yeah, it's like Yucca folifera. These are massive. These are bigger than Joshua trees. Well, the other one over there might be Yucca folifera that I thought was elefantipes, but look at the base of that. That is a massive yucca. These are huge. Bigger than our Joshua trees. So that might also be a folifera, but these ones have larger leaves. I guess they have little threads on them, kind of like our native Mojave yuccas, only these are much larger species. And their inflorescences dangle down. And they don't have their native moth pollinator here. So these are not going to fruit. They don't have their native pollinator here, so these are not going to form fruit on them. Yep, Yucca folifera. These are massive, massive yuccas. And I got some more Mediterranean fan palms right here. And some more beautiful olive trees right here. Yeah, that's a pretty cool spot. There's a small cross over there. I was going to try to get footage of it earlier, but there was somebody hanging out over there, and I didn't want to be disruptive of the guy's piece. So I don't like to film around a lot of people. A, because I don't want to. Don't want to get a lot of people in my footage unless they're a part of the story I'm trying to tell. B, I'm pretty sure they're not going to want some guy yapping with a camera right nearby. I try to be respectful to the other people. Yes, I know this is out in public, but this is a public place, but I do try to be respectful of other people. It's just my nature. So if that guy's gone, I'm going to go over there and try to get some footage of that cross. So yep, this is the Juniperocera cross. I don't think this is the original one. I don't think this is. But this is the site where everything started back in 1769 for California civilization. However, Spanish explorers were back here in the 1500s, like Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo. Yeah, see here it's talking about, yeah, this was Cosoy, used to be called Cosoy. Acá estaba Cosoy, antigua ranchería de los indios. Cabrillo la descubrió y la llamó San Miguel in 1542. I do know some Spanish. So yeah, this is this area he called, Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo called this San Miguel back in the 1500s. And then Father Junipero Serra put up the cross here. I believe this is a replica. I want to say, I think I read that this one was erected about 100 years ago. So I don't think this is the original, but this is the site where the cross was erected, the cross. So yeah. Yeah, this is the area where there used to be a Kumeyaay village. I guess they called it Cosoy, C-O-S-O-Y. Yeah, Rancheria de los Indios. This was a Kumeyaay settlement for a much longer time before Cabrillo, and even much longer than before Junipero Serra came to this site. So yeah, that's the cross. I wanted to come over here, visit, and check it out, and give a little bit of historical context. Right next to this peaceful lemonade berry right here, Rusa tegrifolia. Another Peruvian pepper tree. Peruvian pepper tree is one of the first species of trees planted here in California from outside, not native to California, that is. So yeah, that's one of the first species of trees planted here. I mean, this isn't the original tree here, but that is the species that was originally planted here as one of the first ornamental trees introduced to California back in the day. Here's a much older one here that's been around for a much longer time. It's a much older Peruvian pepper tree right here with a huge base. This one might have been here back in the 1800s. This one might have been here close to the time when Junipero Serra was here, possibly. But yeah, look at this lemonade berry. Look at these lemonade berries right here. They're trimmed to expose their lower trunks. And look how beautiful these are. Gorgeous. Very beautiful. Here's a type of tree. I'm not sure what this is. I've seen it before. I can't place what kind of tree that is right now. I'll have to take some pictures of it and look it up. Yeah, lemonade berries trimmed to look like miniature trees. I mean, normally I'm more into the way our natural plants look without being trimmed and trained, but sometimes the way they train these lemonade berries is amazing, because I love the bark and the texture and the structure of these. And believe it or not, our native lemonade berry, or lemonade sumac is another name for this, is related to this non-native Peruvian pepper tree. They're both members of the cashew family, the Anacardiaceae, which, interesting, is also the same family as the laurel sumac, the mango, the cashew, of course, and also the more toxic plants like poison oak and poison ivy. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting family of plants. And pepper trees and sumacs are related, even though they're not native. Pretty interesting. All right, let me get a picture of this big pepper tree right here, and then I'm going to move on So time for some pictures of this smaller tree here, which I don't recognize. I have a picture of this tree here. So we're right outside the museum. Oh, I think this is a Cuyamaca cypress. I think this is a Cuyamaca cypress right here. Just noticed it right now. I think this is Hesperus apart Stevensonii. Just noticed it right now. What's really here to do is just get a view of Hotel Circle. Right here, Hotel Circle. Yep, I remember this since I was a kid. I think this is a Cuyamaca cypress. Or is it a Tecate cypress? Hold up. Wait a minute. No, I think this is a Tecate cypress, actually. Nah, the foliage is a little greener. Yeah, no, this is a Tecate cypress. I'm tripping. Bark on Cuyamaca cypress is similar. Nope, this is a Tecate cypress. Hesperus apparus Forbesii. Nice single trunk specimen too. A lot of times these things are bushier, but this one's pretty tall for a typical. Yeah, this is a Tecate cypress. That's pretty dope. Nice. It's the tallest one I've ever seen. There's an informational plaque over here. Looks like the museum's still closed. I was gonna consider going inside and poking around for a few minutes. But let me see what these things say here. I figured I'd just take pictures of them. Yeah, nice balcony here. Hopefully they'll come out legible on camera. If they do, if they are legible, you can pause to read them if interested. If they come out legible, that is. I'll have to see when I edit my video. Well, there's a San Diego River. And there's Interstate 8 right below us. Yeah. Yeah, these olive trees are spectacular. Ooh, some beautiful olive trees. Very, very decent sized ones. So, yep, this used to be the native, the village of Cosoy, C-O-S-O-Y. Nice views down here. Some native coastal sage scrub species growing down there too. Yeah, what a cool place this is. I'm glad I came up here. Alright, see if there are any last little notes before I head out. Alright, time to start taking my last steps down. There's another shrub here called Raphiolopus indica, Indian hawthorn, which is in the rose family as well. White to pinkish colored flowers in this early spring. And there's some larger tobiras right here. Those are 3-chambered seed capsules. Pittosporum tobira. It can become small trees too, with age. They usually start out as multi-trunk shrubs. Alright. Let's see if I can get across this without any problems. Yeah, so far so good. Alright, I guess it's time to start wrapping this one up. Kind of sad to go, but got a pretty good feel for this area. One extra thing I want to check out first before I go. Okay, Sylvester Patty Pathfinder, leader of the first party of Americans into Alta, California, over Southern Trails. Arrived here March 27th, 1828. Oh, was an officer in the Army in the War of 1812. Born in Kentucky in 1782. Died near here 1828. Wow. First American buried in California soil. Wow. Let's see some more about this. Alright, here I'm at the top of the little turret. I wonder if this was called the Witch's Tower. I heard there was a thing called the Witch's Tower. Like, it does have a shape of a pentagram. Do a little more research on this. It does have a pentagram shaped design on here. This little turret right here is kind of interesting. Kind of a nice little viewpoint up here. Oh, here's a burial site. I didn't even notice it's beneath my feet. I was too busy trying to read this and didn't even look down and see. Here's a grave marker. Erected by the Daughters of the War of 1812. It was dedicated in 1992. He was just 4 years older than I was. Sylvester Patty. Wow. Didn't even realize it was right there. So we just come here just to show some respect. Very interesting place. So that was one of the first United States residents over here. So yeah, just show some respect when you're there. Yeah, I think this is called the Witch's Tower, I think. I don't know if there's much literature on it. This is kind of an interesting little turret. Look at this massive olive tree. Look at this massive olive tree. Oh boy, this thing is a monster. This is a humongous olive tree. This has got to be one of the largest ones I've ever seen, if not the largest olive tree I've ever seen to date. This thing is humongous. This tree had to have been here back in the 1800s at least, not maybe even older. This had to have been back here in the 1800s. This tree's got some history. I wouldn't be surprised if this tree was from that time and date. Wow. This is a massive olive tree. Oh man, I've never seen one this girthy up close. This is fantastic. Never seen an olive tree this big. Sorry for my language. Let me get some pictures of this. End this off. Here's a Eucalyptus polyanthemos, yet another eucalypt growing here. I was hoping to find an Anchophora tree. Anchophora is another eucalyptus relative. Eucalypt, but I haven't seen one here. But this is Eucalyptus polyanthemos. Yeah, yeah, that olive tree just really got me shook. That thing is huge. All right, time to start heading back to the car. And about time to end this adventure, unfortunately. Alright, well, this is going to about do it for my adventure today. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed checking out Presidio Park with me today, as much as I enjoyed hiking through it, rambling through it, and checking out all the beautiful scenery here. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next adventure.